Hello everyone, welcome to another Python tutorial series, and in this video I'm going to talk about making a Pong game in Pygame. So Pong is a very popular computer game, and I've made it in Turtle and the Usenet engine on my channel. Now in this video I'm going to make it in Pygame, and I hope you like it. So we have the completed Pong game right here, and I'm going to quickly run it to see what the results should look like. And you see here I have two paddles on the left and right, and I have a red ball in the center. I can hit the red ball between the two paddles, and when the red ball crosses one of the paddles, the other person or the other paddle scores a point, like that. And the ball will keep spawning, and I'll keep hitting the paddles back and forth. So now that you know the basic structure of this game, let's start making it. Let's start coding it. So we're going to have two videos for this game, and this is going to be part one. So in this separate file, I'm going to first import my modules, set up the window, initiate, and quit the game. So to import the modules, I'm going to import Pygame and import time, because those are the two modules that I'm going to be using. Now to initiate Pygame, I'm going to write pygame.init, and this is always needed. And to quit Pygame, I could just write pygame.quit, and then quit. Now I'm going to set up my window size. So window size, I'll have a window width value or variable equal to 600. Window height is equal to 500. W1 is equal to pygame dot display dot set mode, window width, and then the window height, and then pygame dot display dot set caption Pong. So if I save and run this, I had a window pop up very quickly, and it will disappear immediately because we just set up the basic window. So now we can also define some parameters. Now I'm going to have a clock, and this clock is a variable, and it's equal to pygame.time.clock. I'm also going to add in some RGB colors. So this black is going to be equal to 0, 0, 0. I'm going to have a green is equal to 144, 238, and 144 on the RGB scale. Red is equal to 255, 0, 0, 0. And white is equal to 255, 255, 255. So now we can add a game loop to keep our window open. Now you noticed earlier it disappeared immediately. When we add this game loop, it's going to keep the window open. So right here, I'm going to add in my game loop while true for event in pygame.event.get if event.type is equal to pygame.quit, then pygame.quit, and then quit. And this just allows the window to quit. And also pygame.display.update clock.tick30. So if I save and run this, now I have a black window staying on my screen with Pong as the title in the top left. Now to make the window, I'm going to fill in the background as green. And so this is going to represent the Pong table. And to do this, I could just write wn for window dot fill, and then green, which is a variable we created up here. And if I save and run this now, I have a nice green color as my background. If I close this, now what I want to do is just draw a white line in the center of our table to separate the left and right sides of the Pong table. Now to create this central line, I'm going to I'm going to have a start x variable equal to the window width divided by 2. I'm going to be using integer division. I'm also going to have a start y variable equal to 0. And this is the coordinate of the starting points. Now the index is equal to window width divided by 2, and the end y is equal to the window height. These are the coordinates at the ending point. I'm going to have a line width variable is equal to 5 to represent the width of the line. And now underneath where I fill in the Pong table, I'm going to draw the line. So pygame.draw.line, the window, the color white. Now our coordinates, so start x, start y, and our ending coordinates, which is index and y. And lastly, our last parameter is just the width, which we had a variable called line width to represent the width. So if I save and run this right now, I have a nice center line on my screen. So now we're going to create two players, which are going to be the two paddles on the left and right side. First, we need to define the dimensions of each paddle. So underneath where we create our central line, I'm going to create a paddle with a variable p width is equal to 20 units. Paddle length is equal to 100. I'm also going to create a player class to initialize our variables. To create our player class, I'm going to go to the top of my code and have class player, define init of self, x, y, width, and the height. I'm going to set self.x equal to x, self.y is equal to x, self.y is equal to y. And these are the x and y coordinates. Self.width is equal to the width parameter. Self.height is equal to the height parameter. And self.speed y is equal to 0. Now we only need the speed y variable because the paddles only move up and down. We'll also define a draw method in the class to draw each paddle. Now we could just define draw of self and window. Pygame.draw.rect window. The color is going to be black. And then self.x, self.y, self.width, and self.height. And these are the values we're going to be drawing the paddles as. Now, once you created this class, I'm going to go down here above our game loop and actually create our two objects of the class. So I'm going to have two players, player A and player B. Player A is going to be equal to an object of the player class that we just created, so player, and then we're going to add in our variables or just our values. So 0, window height divided by 2, minus paddle length divided by 2, p width, p length. Player B is equal to player of window width minus paddle width, then window height divided by 2 using integer division minus paddle length divided by 2, and then p width, p length. So now I need to call my draw functions to actually draw the paddles, and player A is going to be the paddle on the left, player B is going to be the paddle on the right. So in our while loop, I'm going to call the draw functions. So player A dot draw wn and player B dot draw wn. So if I save and run this, I have my two paddles on the left and right side, just like how I want it. So one's right there, one is right there. Now we're not able to move our paddles yet because we haven't added any inputs. So the next step is to set our keyboard binding to move the paddles. So basically in our player class, we need to add in two more or another function, which is going to be the update function. To define update of self, I'm going to have a key state variable, and this is equal to pygame dot key.get pressed. If I'm going to check if self.x is equal to 0, which is the left paddle. So if we are the left paddle, then we want to check if key state pygame dot key w and self dot speed y is equal to -5. So basically, if the left paddle, if the left paddle is pressed, or if this is the left paddle and the W key on our keyboard is pressed, then we're going to set the paddle speed y to -5. And this just means that it's going to move upwards. Otherwise, so elif key state pygame dot key underscore s, so if the s key is pressed, I'm going to set self dot speed y equal to +5, so it's going to move downwards. Otherwise, if none of this happens, then I'm going to set self dot speed y equal to 0, so that it's going to stay still. Now, instead, if it's the right paddle, so right paddle, I'm basically going to check the same thing, so I could just copy and paste this. And really the only difference is instead of checking for key W or key S, I'm going to check for key up and key down, which is the up and down arrow keys. Yeah, the up and down arrow keys. And at the end, since this is the update function, I'm going to update the self.y coordinate. So self.y is equal to the previous self.y plus self.speedy. And now once I've created this update function, let me cancel. I can go back into my while true loop, and then I will call the update function. So player A dot update and player B dot update. Now if I save and run this, I can move my left and right paddles up and down freely. I can move them together, so I'm moving them together like this. I can move them independently, and we just see that they're both working just like we want to do. So this is the end of this video. If you have any comments, please put them at the comment section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.